What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today is day 24 of all Imperial Beer Theme Month here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the AleSmith Brewing Company, and they are out of San Diego, California, and this is their Speedway Grand Prix 2024, the Toasted Coconut Vietnamese Coffee Edition. So this is an Imperial Stout with toasted coconut and Vietnamese coffee. It comes in at 12% alcohol by volume, 70 IBUs at the time of review, and this can is just under 3.5 months old. So this is the fourth and final beer from AleSmith's Speedway Grand Prix mixed 4-pack that I'm reviewing this month. I've already reviewed the other three, and it's been a very fun mixed 4-pack to get through. All of them have been, at the very least, good. A couple of them very good, and I am actually reviewing them in order of least to most excited. So this was the one that I was the most excited about. However, that's kind of bit me in the butt, so to speak, because how I've enjoyed them is actually in the exact opposite order. So the first one I reviewed was the Chocolate Raspberry Edition, the second was the Rocky Road Edition, and then the third was the Maple Bar Edition. I've actually liked them in that order. I gave the Chocolate Raspberry 4.2, the Rocky Road a 4.15, and the Maple, I believe I gave a 4. They're all, like I said, pretty good. The Maple Bar was the most disappointing only because I love maple and it was just really like a generic sweetness. So I'm excited about this one for a couple reasons. Number one, I've had other Speedway Stout variants with Vietnamese coffee. I had the 2016 just Speedway Stout with Vietnamese coffee, and I've also had the 2023 barrel-aged Speedway Stout with Vietnamese coffee and vanilla that was sent to me by a very good friend of mine, the viewer of the channel, Sierra Hotel, and that was absolutely fantastic. So they do Vietnamese coffee right, and then you throw in toasted coconut, one of my favorite, if not my favorite adjunct, period, and I'm here for it. So hopefully we go out with a bang here. Also, shout out to another good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Billy, who sent me the entire 4-pack, but that was after I reviewed all three of them, and those beers will be enjoyed, but he did end up sending them to me, so I want to give him a proper shout out as well. So anyway, let's get it into the Tiku, which I've been using for all of these reviews to keep it consistent. So here we go. I kind of go a little bit aggressive to see if I can generate a head. Maybe a little bit more here, something like that. Okay, all right. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Vietnamese coffee, kind of like I am to some extent, I just know the beans they use are like very intense and like strong. I know they have like a bigger caffeine content. And I know Vietnamese coffee, they use like, it's very milky. I think they use a lot of milk or cream or sugar. But I've never actually had like authentic Vietnamese coffee, but I know about it, and I know the beans themselves are very intense. So that looks beautiful. I mean, if we're talking about a huge 12% Imperial Coffee Stout, yeah, all day long. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, I mean, I will say that this is darker. It seems darker than the rest. It's pitch black. Has a one finger of this dark brown, pretty creamy looking head. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say about the appearance because it looks beautiful. Let's get a nose. The one thing I've appreciated about these Speedway Grand Prix Series beers is you can still get the base Speedway Stout. To me, it's an iconic Imperial Coffee Stout that I first had, I think, back in like 2013, 2012, something like that. And it's just an amazing beer. But I like that you can still get the beer in these variants. So a lot of dark chocolate, sweeter dark chocolate. It has like a medium roasted coffee. Now the coffee in here, I will say, is different. It smells more intense. And it smells like it has this nice fruitiness to it that I don't remember getting with the other variants outside of the chocolate raspberry, which of course had raspberries in it. Yeah, it just has like a robust kind of smell from the coffee aspect. I will say, I'm always honest with you guys, and I do not smell any toasted coconut here. Now, this isn't the most fresh can. It's under 3.5 months old. When I picked these up, they were, I want to say about 1.5 months old, but I knew I was going to review these in January, and, you know, sometimes with the adjunct stuff falls off. I think that's what happened with the Maple Bar. Again, I think it was like, I want to say like around 3 months old or a little bit over. But man, I just love the smell of the coffee in here. It's very simplistic in the nose, which is crazy. It's dark chocolate. It's like a medium to almost full-on roasted coffee. It's fruity, which I think is coming from the coffee aspect. Really get no coconut, but it just smells luscious. Like just a big, hearty Imperial Coffee Stout. And I want to get into it. Cheers, everybody. Wow. Oh, yeah, this is the winner. This is 100% the winner for multiple reasons. But the aftertaste, the finish is beautiful. Go back in. Wow. I don't know how this works, okay? They released this mixed 4-pack. And you would think all of them being the base Speedway Stout, they would all have very similar bodies and mouthfeels. This is by far the best body and mouthfeel of the entire 4-pack. It's full-bodied. It's thick, it's rich, it's syrupy, has a little bit of like an oily and slick kind of component. Definitely full-bodied. Not a bit thin, not even anywhere close. Appropriate for 12%. And almost, you told me this was 13, 14% from a body aspect. I wouldn't question you. The mouthfeel is also fantastic. A good mild to moderate carbonation, more approaching the moderate side of things. So it has a crisp nature to it, but man, it is silky smooth on the palate, and it's actually creamy and almost has like a velvety, again, silky kind of feel to it. Like the body and mouthfeel alone are fantastic for this beer. Fantastic, fantastic body mouthfeel. The taste, I do get the coconut, mostly on the finish. Up front though, it's huge mocha flavors. It's a sweeter dark chocolate meets a medium to dark roasted bean, but I think it's just the fact that it is a very intense coffee because it's Vietnamese coffee. It has a distinct fruitiness, almost like a spicy kind of, yeah, there's like a spicy flavor here that, again, I think is coming from the coffee bean, maybe the other ingredients in the beer, maybe the malt itself, maybe even the coconut, who knows, but I think it's the coffee. Midway through the palate, I get a touch of black licorice and a nice pop of a vanilla. Don't know where that's coming from. And then on the finish, the mocha kind of hits me at that forefront, dives underneath the palate, and then it reemerges on the back of the palate, and I get this beautiful lingering toasted coconut, coffee, chocolate vibe on the finish, almost akin to like a German chocolate cake if you kind of had some kind of coffee influence there, or like a tiramisu with like sprinkled coconut on top of it. This finish is semi-dry. It doesn't really have a lot of dryness, but this is, again, a moderately bitter beer. And I've said that for the most part, I think for all of these beers, the base coffee stout shows in this beer. It shines through. And especially on the finish where I'm getting this nice coffee, earthy, slightly floral bitterness that is, again, more of a moderate bitterness. It's very sweet and luscious and rich up front, but it balances out immensely on the finish. This, dare I say, is delicious. 12%, chest, yes. Palate, yes. There is some booziness, probably the most boozy of the four. I'm kind of baffled here because, again, I think all these are the same base Speedway Stout, 12%, with different adjuncts. This drinks like a completely different beer. B, it's at another level. It's at a different class. This is what I remember Speedway Stout being in the variant, just like beautifully constructed beer, like just fantastic. And I'm kind of, again, baffled and kind of dumbfounded that this is significantly better than the rest. I shouldn't say significantly, but much better than the 4.2 that I gave the chocolate raspberry. It's going to get a little bit higher. Yeah, I mean, the booziness is kind of expected with a beer like this, but I think this doesn't hide the alcohol as well as the other, so it's got to get knocked down a slight peg. But it's 12%. You kind of expect some kind of booziness. So this is definitely the best variant, and I'm glad because we were going in the wrong direction, and if this was going to be the worst, it was going to be a sub 4, and that would have been crazy. But no, I think when it comes to AleSmith and their Speedway Stout series, they more so than almost any other brewery know what they're doing with Vietnamese coffee, and it shows here. It's definitely a different coffee vibe than the other three I've had. The coconut isn't overwhelming, but it's noticeable, which I appreciate. Even though I would love an overwhelming toasted coconut character, I do appreciate it's a little bit more subtle, but I do get it on the finish as opposed to anywhere else on the palate. So that's kind of the lingering flavor is, again, that German chocolate cake or, again, tiramisu with like a coconut sprinkled or like a coconut, if you had like dark chocolate coconut ball of some sort. But at the end of the day, this is my favorite of the bunch, and this itself makes the mixed 4-pack for me. I would now recommend it. Beforehand, I was like, I'd still recommend it, but like it's not a firm recommendation because the other ones were good, but this is, again, on another level. And you throw this into the mix, and this mixed 4-pack, especially for the price point, everything going on, it is 100% a buy for me, or a rebuy. So rating, let me pour the rest of this in because I'm gonna enjoy this all night long. I guess the body just does look a lot thicker. It looks almost fudgy pouring out. What are we gonna give this rating wise? I should have looked at my the barrel-aged Speedway Stout with Vietnamese coffee and vanilla to see what I gave it. I'm pretty sure I gave it like a 4.5, 4.6 range. This isn't as good as that, but it's not far off. So I'm going to give Speedway Grand Prix 2024, the Toasted Coconut Vietnamese Coffee Edition. I am going to go a low 4.5. We'll go 4.45. Yeah. This is a quarter point better than any of the others in the variety pack, or I should say variety, mixed 4-pack. It is a variety pack, but it's a mixed 4-pack. It's not a whole 12-pack. And this is just absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. Not much more to say about it. So, price point availability, as I've said with the other reviews, I picked this up in Mentor, Ohio at Red Wine and Brew, and this was $16.99 a 4-pack. I know some others said they paid kind of in that like $16 to $20 realm. For this beer specifically, I'd go upwards of $6, $7 a can easily. But in that mixed 4-pack, if you had to pay in the 20 range, I think that's fine. Anything above that, I would start questioning, $6 a can on average if they were all this beer easily. But I think the price point I paid was fantastic. And if you can get under $20 a 4-pack, I think it's fantastic as well. And the availability, I don't exactly know with this beer outside of what they posted on their Instagram, which they said I think it was 10 to 12 different states. You may have been able to get it online. I don't know if they ship. You can go to their website. They have a beer finder. I know they have an online store. I don't know where they ship to in the US, but if you're in Ohio, I know they had this beer back in the middle to late fall. And obviously if you're in California, you can get it as well. So to recap, in order of how I rated them, it would be this at the top of the hill, without question, the best beer of the bunch. Second would be the chocolate raspberry. Third would be the Rocky Road, and the last would be the maple bar. And I think they're all good to great. Most of them are good and very good. This is definitely great and the winner of the bunch. So if you picked up this mixed 4-pack from AleSmith, let me know what you thought about each one of them. This beer specifically, if you've ever had it before, I don't know if they've actually brewed this one before. It seems like it's a very familiar variant, but I don't think so. Because when I looked at the Untapped check-ins, there wasn't a ton that would indicate this was around for a while, but they may have brewed this one before and not put it in their Speedway Grand Prix series. It might have been just a standalone beer, which is perhaps why the body is so significantly better. And I taste the adjuncts and everything is just very cohesive. Yeah, 100%, 4.45 out of 5. So that does it for the Speedway Grand Prix 2024 mixed 4-pack. I reviewed all 4 of them and I've enjoyed them, and this is where it ends. So again, appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the reviews. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for day 25 of All Imperial Beer Theme Month. And until then, cheers.